Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessing be upon all of you. I am Imam Tariq Rashid. I'm the Imam here, or pastor at the Islamic Center of Orlando. So on behalf of the Islamic Center of Orlando, I'd like to welcome all of you for coming. It means a lot to see you here on a Saturday evening. I know it's a family time, but it means a lot to us that you took out time to be with us today. The Islamic Center of Orlando hosts these Interfaith Iftars for the last many years. This year we are hosting 7 Iftars. So this one is the 4th one. And we are hosting this along with Imam Sykes and his class. So I'd like to thank Imam Sykes and his wife, Sister Nuren, for helping us in organizing this Interfaith Iftar. And the purpose for which we host these Interfaith Iftar is very simple, that we would like to make bridges with people of other faiths, build bridges with people of all faiths, no faiths. Our belief is that when we know each other better, right, we live in peace. If we do not know each other well, we live in fear of unknown. So once we know each other well, we break the bread together, we eat together on the same table, we make fellowships, then we start loving and liking each other, and then we make friendships. And religion is all about making friendships and peace. Religion is not about dividing and creating hatred. So we, the people of religion, right? The pastors, the imams, the rabbis, right? We have a huge responsibility of spreading love in our community, right? Not hate. And we can spread love only when we have dialogue, when we sit around a table and talk about general issues. So the Islamic Center of Orlando holds these Interfaith Iftars with this mission of creating love and understanding in our local community. So this is a very exciting time for us. This is the month of Ramadan. We are all fasting. And when we do this work in the month of Ramadan, we feel especially pleased. We feel that we are creating love and understanding in the local community, and that's what God wants from each one of us. Right? So I'll not take much of your time. We have a small program that we have prepared for you, and we have 2 wonderful girls who are going to be running this program today. I would like you to encourage them. They are kind of nervous. They will be, they have prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and they have been rehearsing it, practicing it since like 2 o'clock, I guess. But we are young girls, and we want them to be the leaders of tomorrow. So please welcome Zainab and Bisma.
Thank you, Imam Tariq, for that warm welcome. Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. Thank you for joining us all tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's nice to see you all here. My name is Bisma Siddiqui.
And my name is Zainab Qadri. The Islamic Center of Orlando was established over 30 years ago. It was created as a safe place to worship and unite the Orlando community.
We strive to build bridges between people of all beliefs, ethnicities, and lifestyle. Tonight, we'd like to discuss the basics of Islam and to break barriers. So here's our current masjid, and while you guys were coming, you probably saw our new masjid in construction. Many people wonder what the inside of a mosque actually looks like. It is an open area where people come to pray and sit on the floor. In this picture, our community is gathered in the mosque and is listening to Imam Tariq giving his Friday sermon.
In Islam, we begin our gatherings in the name of God. I would like to ask Yunus Rashid to come and recite verse 254, Surah Baqarah of the Holy Quran. You can follow along here for translation.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض هو العظيم
Thank you, Eunice, for that beautiful recitation. So, Islam is a monotheistic religion, which means its followers believe in only one God with no partners. We believe in all prophets, including Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon them. We believe in all divine books, such as the Torah, Psalms, Bible, and the Quran. We believe in angels, destiny, and life after death.
Here are 4 out of the 5 pillars of Islam. We pray 5 times a day towards the house of God in Mecca. And we are required to give a small amount of wealth every year in charity.
While fasting, we refrain from eating and drinking. But not only that, we also refrain from doing wrong, so by the end of the month, we leave as a better person. We travel to Mecca for Hajj, but if we can, only if we are physically and financially capable.
There are 1.8 billion Muslims in the world, which is 24.1% of the world's population. The Muslim population is a diverse community of believers all over the world. Over 50 countries have Muslim majority populations.
So what country do you guys think is the most populated in the world? Does anybody have a yes?
Philippines.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the question again. What country do you think is the most Muslim populated in the world?
Indonesia.
So actually, yes, it is Indonesia, and it has currently the largest population of Muslims. Although Islam is often associated with Arabs, fewer than 15% of Muslims are Arab.
This year, 2 Muslim women were elected into Congress. Omar Ilham and Rashida Tlaib. There are nearly 5,900 Muslims active duty members of U.S. Armed Forces. Nearly 900 New York City police officers are Muslims. Since the time of Columbus, Muslims have been a vital part of the American society. 10% of American physicians are Muslims. So most Americans actually don't know any Muslims, at least not personally. 83% of Americans say they know little to nothing about Islam.
When we invite people in our religious centers, we see that it creates a sense of peace and harmony. An example of this is a protest that took place in Phoenix, Arizona.
A Valley man who went to a rally outside of Phoenix Mosque on Friday to protest Islam has a change of heart somewhat. Went to the event where armed demonstrators spoke out against the Muslim faith. But after being invited inside the mosque, he says the congregation made him feel welcome. Andrew has been live outside the Islamic Community Center of Phoenix where a different rally is getting underway tonight. Andrew.
That's right, Troy. More on that rally in a minute. But you remember the scene out here on Friday. You wouldn't expect someone to be invited inside the mosque, but that is what happened. And he told us today that after going in there, he now has a very different perspective.
Here's Jason Ledger and the organizer of Friday's rally wearing the profanity-laced t-shirts. Now,
things have changed.
Out of respect for the Islamic people, knowing what I know now, since I have talked to them and spoke with them, no, I would not do that again. Just because I don't want to offend or hurt those people.
Well, at Friday's rally, Ledger spoke with a group of people who prayed at the mosque, and he was invited inside.
But when I took a second to sit down and listen to them and actually enter their mosque and go in and watch some of their prayers, it was a beautiful thing, and they answered some of my questions that I had.
Ledger attended the rally with his uncle. For them, going was more about free speech than religion.
We don't have to like everything that's free in speech in this world, but we do have to let it happen. We do have to let people wear what they want, say what they want.
Ledger and his uncle say they've been invited back to the mosque for more discussions, and they plan to go. This time, the t-shirt will stay at home.
I feel that me and a few people like my Uncle Paul and the Muslim people taking time to talk to each other, I feel that we changed the thoughts of some people, and they changed the thoughts of me. Paul specifically said, I will never wear that shirt again.
I made my point, all right? The point was that even the most vile speech is protected under the First Amendment, okay? That was the point I was trying to make.
And tonight's rally is being organized by a number of religious groups. They're coming here to the mosque and holding what they're calling a love, not hate rally. That rally is set to get underway in about 30 minutes. Reporting live in Phoenix, I'm Andrew Haspel, Fox 10 News.
Andrew, thank you. The organizer of the Phoenix.
Just a simple invitation can change negative perspectives, and that is why we strive to create an open environment here at the Islamic Center of Orlando. This is why we at ICO find it important to host year-round events in order to unite the community.
Every year, we host multiple Interfaith Iftars during Ramadan.
By hosting our interfaith barbecues, we invite the local community to spend an afternoon with us and open a dialogue with everyone.
We invite schools to educate them on the topic of Islam and to give them a tour of our mosque.
Our food truck travels around the less fortunate places of Orlando to feed the homeless and hungry, to make a positive impact on our local community.
The mosque was open for the people who needed shelter during Hurricane Irma. We provided relief for those in stressful times in coordination with the Red Cross.
In the wake of Hurricane Irma's devastating impact on Puerto Rico, the Islamic Center in Orlando had 90 volunteers at a food packaging event along with other religious communities. We were fortunate to be able to provide relief for those in need during stressful times. We were honored to be presented with the Volunteer Group of the Year Award by J.P. Morgan Chase.
Now we would like to briefly talk about the basic principles of Ramadan. Ramadan is the 9th month of the lunar calendar, in which Muslims are required by God to fast from sunrise to sunset. Fasting gives us another opportunity to show obedience towards God. In this month, our holy book, the Quran, was revealed. I would now like to ask Yunus to come up and recite another verse from the Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون صدق الله العظيم.
The translation is, O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting as it was decreed upon those before you that you may become righteous. This is why we fast, as God has explicitly told us to do so.
The purpose of fasting is for the love of God. We do actions that are pleasing to Him, and because of the fear of God, we restrain ourselves from acts of disobedience to Him, through which we gain purification of the soul. Fasting allows us to feel the hunger of the less fortunate, and this helps us develop an appreciation for the blessings that we have. It also helps us learn patience, self-control, self-discipline, and more.
So now we would like to share some Iftar pictures from around the world. This is Iftar at the White House with President Barack Obama.
This is Iftar in Canada with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Iftar in Abu Dhabi,
Lebanon,
Iftar in Medina,
Iftar in Jakarta,
Iftar in Syria.
Iftar in Gaza.
So as you can see in Syria and Gaza, not all areas are lavish. Here you can see a vast difference. Even though they are facing hardships, they gather as a community to break their fast.
At the end of this month, we celebrate a holiday called Eid. On this holiday, all Muslims come to the mosque and perform a special prayer. Afterwards, we visit family and friends where we eat good food and enjoy our holiday. You can join us every week right here on Wednesdays at 6:30 for an open house. And now we would like to invite our guest speaker, Imam Sykes, to come and say a few words.
So while I'm getting my technology at work here, I want to acknowledge the young folks for what an awesome job they did. I think we should give them another hand. I'm so comforted when I see young people doing what I used to do and am still doing, so I can retire soon. And my hair tells me that I'll be able to do that sooner than later, inshallah. So I just want to make sure we operate on something called MST. It's called Muslim Standard Time. We usually run late, so I'm just checking on the time here. It's 7:40, and this is good. This is really good. I was supposed to start at 7:35, so this is amazing. So I just want to welcome you again here and to say how happy I am. I taught in this room for 9 years, and so I feel very at home here. And I love Hafiz Saab. He's a dear brother, and many things that I wanted to do, he always supported me and said, let's go, let's do it. And so those things are still alive today in the community, and I thank God that he let me be a part of that. Thank you. And thanks you to this community for sponsoring this event tonight. First of all, I want to say how important I think it is for us to be here with recent church fires, synagogue attacks, masajid attacks. It is so vitally important that we come together and get to know each other. It is vitally important. So I thank you again for being here tonight. So why do I fast? I fast to absolve myself of all of the addictions that I acquire in the 11 months outside of Ramadan. Yes, the addictions of Starbucks, the addictions of certain maybe television shows, and we could go on. Each table could give me a couple, right? Ramadan brings hope, loving mercy, compassion, peace, serenity, renewed spiritual strength, and commitment to Allah. For me, Ramadan is my best friend, genuinely. That's how I see Ramadan. It is a guest that comes, and I pray that I'll treat that guest so well that that guest will go back to paradise and say, your servant did a good job. The reason I love Ramadan so much is because of its influence, and because of my obedience to God in doing so, and the way that it brings us together collectively. But it is my friend, and there's never been an Eid, a holy day, that I don't cry because my friend is leaving me. And I know some of you that know me well are very shocked that I would ever cry. Ramadan brings commitment to a nobler and richer life. Ramadan envelops us for 29 or 30 days with abundant benevolent fruits and benefits. We as Muslims believe that we were born to be the servants of Allah, and we fast because our Lord has commanded us to do so. Even though there are so many rewards for fasting, that's not why we do it. We do it because God has commanded us to do so. Allah benefits nothing from our service, love, or worship. Only we benefit. Allah deserves to be worshipped for who Allah is. Allah's majesty and what Allah gave us in fasting is exponential rewards. Our non-obligatory actions receive the reward of the usual act of worship, and our obligatory acts of worship receive up to 700 times the normal reward. Now, we've got a lot of accountants in this community. I think that's 70,000% return, right? There's nowhere you can get that anywhere else in the world except here in Islam. This is the month of the Quran, the month of patience, the month of giving, and the month of forgiving, the month of proofs, the month for worship, the month of a blessed night and nights, the month of faith, the month of happiness, the month of purification, the month of increase, and the month of repentance. Allah gave us this blessed month so that we cleanse ourselves and elevate ourselves to the higher dimensions of Allah's special love and mercy. In Islam, we refer to the world as the dunya, and it's as low as you can go until we get lowered into the grave. But we call it the alam al-shahada, the world that you can see. And then we are reaching for the alam al-ghayb, the world that you can't see. All of us, I believe, would like to be in the world of the angels. We would like to be in that world that is elevated above all of the attachments of the earth. And if we look at the earth itself, we have a lot of attachments. Our cars sit on it, our homes sit on it, and everything that sits on it actually owns us. So Ramadan liberates us in that way. Allah gave us this blessed month so that we cleanse ourselves and elevate ourselves. The gates of paradise are open to us when this month arrives, and the gates of hell are shut. It's sort of beautiful because in this month, and our belief, we believe that all of the shayateen are locked up. So anything I do wrong in this month, I cannot say the devil may be doing. It is actually a mirror reflection. It is a gift from God to show me an area of deficiency within my soul that I can clean up. So I'm so grateful for that. In this month, we have to accept responsibility for our actions, destructive drives and impulses, and change them. Surrender that which doesn't please Allah, our Lord and Master. This great opportunity that Allah has given us makes us want to change. For the sake of Allah alone, we make a voluntary and deliberate choice to refrain from that which is usually allowed. Things we usually allowed to do outside of Ramadan, we don't do. This teaches us control over our emotional drives. And if we learn this in this great month, then we should be able to do it in the other 11 months of the year. The purification of our soul that we seek in this great month develops freedom and liberation from the drives, whelms, impulses, and addictions that can damage our soul and others around us. In this month, we are not slaves to our stomach or desires, but slaves to consecrated worship, continuous repentance, good deeds, giving generously, extolling and praising Allah, expressing gratitude to Allah, listening to Allah's word daily, and seeking to be in the divine presence. Soon, after Sunday night, we will move into Laylatul Qadr. We will move into the last 10 nights of Ramadan, where we will be visited, if we seek that, by the very teacher of Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we will have the blessing to be in the presence of the divine. This community has produced, now I think I can say, hundreds of his students, Hafiz, right? And they lead us every night in 1/30 of the Holy Quran. It takes about 2 hours. Most of those students' mother language is not Arabic, and they recite it perfectly. Most of the students their mother tongue was Urdu, right, Imam Tariq?
Yeah.
Yes, but they recited in Arabic, and we get to hear that in the perfect language of the Holy Quran. If we do all of this with the intention to please our Lord, it will help us graduate to a higher level of spiritual awareness. We will not just fast with our tongue, for that will only bring hunger and thirst. Ramadan teaches us to fast with our eyes in both secret and public. Beautiful thing about eyes is that Allah gave us eyelids. So if I'm looking at something I'm not supposed to, all I have to do is go like this. If I'm about to gossip, slander, or say something I'm not supposed to say, God gave me two gates. I can still talk like this. I can still say something, but I can't when I close my lips. Ramadan teaches us to fast with our ears so that we don't listen to that which is detrimental to our soul. That part of us that will return to Allah. That's always interesting because that's the one thing you can't close. Allah didn't give us earlobes that we had a hinge and we could fold them down. So we're sort of subject to whatever's around us. We must not use our tongue freely to lie, deceive, backbite, gossip, bray like a donkey, yell at people, swear at the creations of God. But we must use my tongue to glorify the divine and touch the hearts of those whom we come into contact with beautiful words and eloquent speech. This Ramadan, I've been working on refining my character in certain ways, and one of those is when I drive a car. So I realized that God gave me an opportunity when I drive a car to refine myself. So I used to, like, if somebody pulled out in front of me, I just knew they didn't see me, so I'd flash my lights about 15 times. And then if they pulled out too close to me, I'd hit the horn for an extended period of time. And this year, I am doing well. That was one of my goals, that I would refine my character as a driver. Allah has no need for people who are fasting from food and drink, but not fasting with his or her tongue, ears, hands. And when I say that, I mean what I type on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the things that everybody knows I don't really know about. There are those who fast and the only benefit, harvest, or gain they get is hunger. Some will pray and only gain sleeplessness. In Ramadan, we endeavor to use our senses, feet, legs, hands, and every gift Allah has favored us with for Allah's sake and pleasure. When we are fasting and someone gets abusively confrontational, we are to say, I am fasting, I am fasting, I am fasting. And I'm not looking at my beloved brother because he said something offensive. I'm just using him as a prop. Thank you, brother. This is interesting because in our context, most people will know that a Muslim is fasting from food and drink from dawn until sunset. Unless we are sick or traveling, we are fasting. Perhaps we may have a medical, that would be another concession. This seems to imply that we are reminding people that we are fasting with every single faculty that Allah has given us. We are not going to reciprocate the aggression meted out to us because we are fasting. In Ramadan, we develop positive energy inside of us because we fast with intentions from our heart, the very core of our being. When we know that we are fasting from our heart, we desist from arrogance, oppression, greed, miserliness, and other diseases of the heart because we are fasting for elevation. And we are intentionally striving to develop the attributes found in the names and attributes of our Lord and in our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Peace and blessings be upon him. When we do this, our heart will beat with rest, love, repose, tranquility, generosity, kindness, patience, and forgiveness. When we realize and materialize the real purpose for the month of Ramadan, we fast within our souls and we are beacons of light in our community. Because in reality, if I am not in touch with the source of peace, which we believe to be God, one of Allah's names is As-Salam. If you don't know as-salam, it is our belief that you don't know the source of peace. And therefore, if I don't have peace within me, I cannot materialize peace outside of me. When we realize and materialize the real purpose for the month of Ramadan, people see it in our lives. We become aware that there is life beyond food, work, Starbucks, and entertainment. And we leave those things to go to the masjid every night about 9:45, and soon it'll be 10 o'clock, and listen to Allah speak the language that shapes and shapes our very hearts and souls. We find life in the adhan when we hear the call to prayer. And we are called to success. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. Listen for those words when you hear it for the first time. Hasten to prayer and hasten to success. In our remembrance of Allah and our restraint and abstaining from that which we usually indulge in hopes that we graduate spiritually and obtain the provisions necessary for a successful journey back to Allah. That is why we fast. So I wanted to invite a few people that are here tonight to come up and speak. There's so many, but I will not put you on the spot. So I would love to ask Professor Miguel Rodriguez. He is from the University of Central Florida, and every semester I have the blessing and the unique privilege to lecture in his class. And I'm going to, is it 3 minutes we have for a couple of speakers?
Yeah, we got.
Okay, so we'll try to keep it to 3 minutes, okay? Here you go, Miguel. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm always very happy to be invited to come to share Iftar with my Muslim brothers and sisters and with the community. So we've been friends for, I think now over 10 years, must have been, and it's been a blessing every time. I just want to say that we've done a community service together in Interfaith work. Imam Sykes and his lovely wife and Nuran Sykes come to my class every semester to talk about Islam to my students. And we had the best semester this past spring, where Imam Sykes and Nuran touched the students' hearts rather than came after the talk and talked to them about their own struggles, whether they were Muslim or not. And I don't think none of them were Muslim. No. I don't think none of them were Muslim actually. And they were very appreciative. So I just want to say, I don't want to take too long, but I want to say it's important, education and community and the community spirit. We must keep this alive and frequent and all the time. We must commune. It's so important because the enemy is always trying to separate us, divide us, but we must be united. God bless. Thank you.
I'm going to invite Pastor Drew Willard from the United Church of Christ in the Villages, where we do something very unique. Every year, a rabbi and Pastor Willard and myself take their pulpit and each of us talk about what our faith believes on a given subject. So here you are. He's a very dear friend, and we've known each other for how many years? 9 years, mashallah.
Thank you. Salam alaikum. Shalom, shalom, and peace be with you all. Thank you, Imam Tariq, for making this possible here. Imam Abdurrahman Sykes and Nuran Sykes, thank you. Thank you for your friendship for 9 years. I first met Imam and Nuran Sykes at a presentation of what is called the Faith Club, a reader's theater, based on a book written by 3 women after 9/11. who wanted to do a children's book, but it became a book about their faiths and their discussions. And two women from my church basically took the book and adapted it with permission from the authors to do a reader's theater. And we have two of the actors are here tonight. Donica Ani from my church, and also Duran Sykes is another character from in the drama, and Michelle Hughes of Temple Shalom in the Villages area. And so this is a presentation that ultimately comes up with a message that all our faiths, these three Abrahamic faiths, the ultimate message is about love. That is our central value. Now, Imam Sykes mentioned that we've been doing this shared service. Actually, we now call it Love Sunday, and where an imam, rabbi, and pastor all participate in. It is a Protestant worship service, but we've been able to integrate and hear our sacred stories and an interpretation of that. And my church members are amazed, and there's something beautiful that comes about in shared worship, where you hear the call to prayer, the Baruchu with the Jewish community, the Adhan. And then we do this at our third Sunday in Advent, where we light three of the 4 candles for our Advent. And we call it the love candle is the third one that we light. And what people see is very different traditions, but it's the same spirit. It is a spirit that is celebrated in diversity. And that, I think, is the great strength. I also want to acknowledge my colleague David O'Brien. And he provided a great gift for the Villages community when he asked, there have been so many crises, but he asked the question about having an interfaith prayer service. And so we began that. It's been several years now, but also includes Baha'i and Unitarians in participating in this service. It's truly an interfaith event, and we've been doing these quarterly. And it's again the opportunity to see, even in worship, amazingly, when we get together and see the beauty. It's actually we do the work, we show up, but it's really God who does the heavy lifting at that point. So my final thank you is to all of you in being available to encounter one another, to make that bridge that is possible for us to achieve that beloved community that we can all be. Thank you.
And I also wanted to ask if I could pose Nancy Moore to come up. Nancy works with Bread for Life, and we've
Bread for the world.
Bread for the world. Thank you. Thank you. The first mistake I made tonight. Ha ha. So could you just come and say a word about whatever you'd like to say?
This is my first time to be here at this kind of a service, but we love Imam and Nuran. We've gotten to know them in the group Bread for the World. We have a Central Florida group, and we're working to end hunger, and we're all involved in that. I'm a retired teacher, also spent a lot of time in Africa. So Nuran, I know where she's from, I've been there. But again, this is a wonderful experience. We love you all. Thank you for inviting us, and hope we can come again. The friendships are wonderful. I'm going to take that back to my congregation, Park Lake Presbyterian Church, where Imam has spoken, and hope we can do that too. God bless you.
Thank you. I would like to ask my beloved brother David O'Brien. David O'Brien, I'm sorry, those Irish names get me every time. To please please come up and share with us.
Thank you, everyone. I'm always grateful to be here. I bring my children with me, and it was such a wonderful presentation that the young women put on in terms of their own education and exposure. And I want to say, having worked in the Catholic community and being exposed to a lot of people who really do not know Muslims, the opportunity for all of us to get together in our church that seats over 1,000 people and practically fill that church, for those people up in the Villages area to have a chance to see the beauty of all the different faiths, and especially the Muslim community, the women coming with their the hijab and Imam Said speaking there, and just such a powerful witness to the shared humanity and the shared desire to love and to be in community with one another. And now I work with at-risk 14 to 19-year-old boys in a very remote area, small town, a lot of people who do not have a lot of access to education and to dialogue. So I come and tell them things like, I know Muslims and I'm friends with them, and they are not what you think they are. That is not true. And what a gift it is to be able to say that with such deep felt conviction, and to know that they would be welcome here, and I hope at some point to maybe be able to bring them. Thank you, everyone.
And Ron Reynolds.
I've known Ron since 1997. Is that right? Yes. We met at a marriage retreat thing, and then we reconnected after many years, and Ron sometimes will let me lecture 6 lectures in a row in one day. So I am blessed to do over 200 speeches a year. And I thank God every day of my life that I get to be a messenger to teach people about the true and peaceful message of Islam.
What an honor. I was going to make a joke, but I guess I'll make a joke anyway. You make jokes and cry all in the same sentence. We can all go out, and after tonight, you can say, you've learned something new tonight. You can spread the positive message that there are actually good things happening in the Villages. Why do I always hear negative things coming from the Villages? Good job, Villages people. This is,
Yay for the Villages!
there you go. It's like as a result of a conversation while this event was starting, I realized my journey with fasting began as a freshman in high school as a member of the wrestling team. You know, a lot of us have learned fasting through medical discipline or military service or being on the wrestling team. You learn something valuable that our world doesn't teach much now, that the world's not going to end if your perceived needs, whether it's food or thanks for bringing up Starbucks, whatever your perceived needs are at that moment are not met. But you're right, there's a higher discipline to that. And that's part of the journey I've been on in my life. I grew up going to Catholic school, and I would go through the, I would give up giving up things for Lent, that kind of thing. But yes, what we know is that the history of monotheism, going all the way back through the major prophets, from Abraham all the way through Jesus and Muhammad, the assumption was that one would fast. Didn't Jesus say when he was confronting the Pharisees, he said, when you fast, don't disfigure yourself, don't make a show of it, all of that. And so, right, the spiritual blessings of fasting go beyond just that immediate first step that so many of us are still learning, that we don't have to feel an immediate gratification every moment. So what a blessing here to be here tonight. Thank you. You're still an amazing preacher. Thank you.
I'll be looking for cues. Does that mean sort of wrapping up, or let me know? I'll share a funny story though, because my beloved brother talked about fasting. When I was 14 years old, I decided that I would fast for 14 days. My mother did not think it was funny. My mother is a Southern belle from North Carolina. You couldn't tell that from my accent, could you? None of you, right? I sound like I'm from South Africa? Like my wife? No, I'm just kidding. Is there any other clergy that I might have left out that I don't know you're here? I would not want to do that. Any clergy members that I left out? Okay, very good. I'm going to put somebody on the spot. I have a student here that studied with me for about an hour. About an hour? That's funny. About a year. About a year. And second mistake. They're going to throw me off from here in a minute. Albert, I'd like to hear it from you tonight. I'd like you to share just a little bit about your new life. 3 minutes. Now this guy can talk. You think I can talk? I am on the bottom of the rung.
Half of my introduction.
2 minutes,
please. I'm kidding. Sorry. So it's a very wonderful thing when I get the opportunity to share my story on how I was able to come to Islam. And just like many people in America, I grew up in a Christian, not really a Christian home, but I grew up in the Christian church. But many years down the road, as I got older, there was an emptiness within myself, and it had nothing to do with the faith at the time that I was practicing. It was just an emptiness that I had. And there was a moment in my life where, like many others, I had heard the Adhan, and I was filled. My empty cup was filled. I knew that there was truth there, even though I didn't know what was being said with the Arabic language. I just knew for me, I had to seek it. It took about 11 years before I finally started to seek it. But yeah, I was very fortunate. Each step along the way was like a little, not really a breadcrumb, but one that I was picking up. And I didn't realize it until I got down here. And I started to meet other individuals and started to ask them questions about Islam. And then they led me to Imam sites. And I studied for about 5 months, pretty rigorously on my own, under as well as his guidance. And eventually I've taken my Shahada. And I can't tell you how surprised people are when they find out I work for Habitat for Humanity currently. And I'm very open, like, oh yeah, I'm fasting, it's Ramadan. Wait, what? Yeah.
I love you, bro. Thank you. I'm definitely ready to break down.
Thank you, everybody, for speaking, and it's time to break our fast. So the way we do is that you have a date, few dates in front of you. This is a tradition to break our fast with a date. So if you can take a date in your hand, please. We have the young man standing next to me. He will be calling the Adhan, which is the call of prayer. So after sunset, you break the fast with the date, and then we listen to the call of the prayer. And after that, we eat dinner. So I will call upon this young man for us to call the Adhan. And you can break the fast when you think.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Thank you for us. So now comes our happy hour. So that's what we have been waiting for all day. To eat. So I'd like to start with table number 1 to 4. If you can please come with these volunteers and the food right there. 1 to 4 please. 13 and 40. And now table 15 and 16 will come please.
Nature's beauty dazzled am I, knowing everything goes on this time.
But I'd like to get some feedback. How was the food? Not too spicy, right? So again, thank you all for coming. It was a nice evening together. And at this moment, if somebody would like to come forward and speak and share their experience coming here, you're more than welcome to come. Anybody would like to come forward and say a few words about their experience? Oh, heavenly. Thank you.
You never know when you're going to learn something. I came tonight because my wife made me. But you have to be available all your life for gifts. And they come at strange times, in strange places, with strange clothes on. Well, I've had a wonderful evening. I came saying it would require my patience a little, but mainly it's been a great gift of fellowship and understanding. And I thank you very much for being such a great host community.
you, sir, for those nice words. And anybody else would like to come forward and share their views?
Hello, everyone. My name is Yolanda, and I'm a friend of Naran's. We met playing pickleball. How many of you know she plays pickleball? The villagers should know. I met Naran at South Econ Community Center about a year and a half ago, right? 2 years? Oh, wow. We played pickleball for 2 years. Well, anyway, I've had some conversations with Naran, and recently we had a pretty deep one. After playing at Econ, we sat down on the curb, eating our tangerine, peeling, and like, what are we doing here? Like, we were just sitting out talking. And we talked about pickleball, how it's not just a game. It's a way to connect with other people. If it weren't for pickleball, I wouldn't have met Naran. I wouldn't have met Steve, Cedric, and Tina, Marjorie, and Ryan, of course, Glenn and Carol over there, and you know, that lady that I can't remember her name. Sandra, yes. Sandra Bullock, yes. Well, anyway, I just wanted to come up here and just let you, the community of Islam, know that your mission is coming true. It is connecting people. Of course, I met Naran's husband, Dura. And I met her family. She has a great family, and if it weren't for pickleball, I would not have made friends. And she's the first Muslim friend I've known. When I met her, I saw her with a thing on her head, and I went, why is she wearing a scarf? We're inside. And then I started talking to her, and she told me what it was called. And it was great to come here today to get to know more about Naran and her family. And I can feel nothing but love and unity. And so thank you for having us.
Thank you, ma'am, for the nice words. Anybody else would like to come? Let's share their views. Okay. So, I'd like again thank you all for coming. It was a nice evening, and we'll keep you updated on what we do here at the Islamic Center for Language through emails. And maybe in the near future we can get together again. And thank you for coming, Sister Nguyen, thank you for coming. And I think together we'll continue to do the good work. Okay? May God bless all of us. Thank you.